Hello, friends. Welcome to the Beau Show. I'm your host, Beau Braden. This week's guest is my dear friend, Lindz Petrillo, conservationist, student at University of Montana. She's a dear friend of mine, and I'm very excited for you guys to meet her. Lindsay, how's it going?
Going great, Beau. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to have you on. As I said earlier, this is our first guest. I would love for you to tell me how you got into being a conservationist and what drove your passion into that.
Yeah, so, well, I grew up in Delaware, and I grew up in a bubble and didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was a little shit all my life. I didn't do much. And then I got out to Montana. I decided to get into Montana and still didn't know what I wanted to do at all. Moved back home various times. And then I had this really gnarly awakening because I had this crazy asthma attack where I was hospitalized for 2 weeks in ICU. And I kept seeing wolves. I always have this dream about a black wolf, and it's a reoccurring dream. I haven't had it in a year probably, but I was like, the wolves, they need my help. I got all excited about wolves and then started researching wolves and doing all that. And then I got into wildlife biology at the university. Still enrolled there, but I just think animals are the most helpless things on earth, but the most important things on earth. They're the ones that keep us alive, literally, and I don't think people are aware of that. They feed us, they keep the ecosystems pure, and therefore we are all continuously pure and wonderful and amazing because of them. So I want to be the one to help them and keep them around for as long as I can.
Okay, so I came in with the understanding that you came to Montana for the wolves, but you were there before that passion started?
Mm-hmm. I was there. I hated Missoula at first. It was dark and sad. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's really hard to be in a place like that when you don't know yourself and you just don't know what's going on because you can't be happy anywhere. So, yeah, I was with my ex and I moved back and forth and just to be with him on the East Coast. And then I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
And so then I moved back to Missoula for the wolves. Yeah, I was like, I want to be closer to animals. There's more animals there. But then, yeah, and a lot of people there, especially in Idaho and Montana, just do not like wolves. So
Mm-hmm.
got to put my efforts there. But yeah, it was for the wolves the second move, definitely.
What initially brought you to Montana?
School. Just school.
You just thought it looked cool, or what was the
So
process on that?
it's actually a funny story. So this gives hope to everybody and anybody and everybody, because I had one of the lowest GPAs in my class graduating. I'll say it, I had a whopping 1.8 graduating high school, which is really bad. I was definitely a late bloomer with the mind. Montana was the only school I got accepted to
Go
out of
Grizz.
18 schools. I think I applied to ASU and didn't get in. Which was then, I remember tearing up when I saw that because I was like, I'm done. I'm not getting an education. And then I got an email from the university and they were like, you've been accepted. And I remember crying in class, and everyone, I think a couple of my friends started clapping because they knew how stupid I was. And then I showed my teacher and she's like, I knew you could do it. And I'm like, yeah. And then that was pretty much what happened there. And then, yeah, Montana, I was like, cool. I like the mountains and animals. I did like animals as much as I do now, but I didn't know I was going to work with them at the time. But I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, what am I going to do? Maybe I'll just go in undecided. And that's what I did.
So your Instagram bio, I was doing my Lindsay research before this, and it is, correct me if I'm off a little bit, but it's be nice to those who came before us.
Be nice to the beings that were here before us. Yes.
Would you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. Just having respect for, not only the animals that were here before you, but like elders and stuff, like the wisdom that comes with age. And
Hmm.
I think just so many people nowadays are just very disrespectful and have the largest egos I've ever seen in my life. And we all have ego, it's hard to get rid of it completely, but I just think being selfless is really important. And that's just not what I see, and people, I mainly think about that in the aspect of wolves too. Like people like hate them so much, but they know nothing about their biology and like their beneficial aspects. And so it's really difficult to deal with those people. But at the same time, like just being good and kind to everybody and everyone that was here before us and not leaving them behind.
So for me, my view on wolves is very limited to what you've told me, and then the people that live in Montana who tell me, "Oh no, we need to get them out. Like they kill our livestock and all that." So what are these benefits of having them that you talk about?
So when you see like uh, a herd of elk, for example, and they're just sitting there, standing there, they're not if there were no wolves, they would just stay in a given area and just graze and walk and tramp along the landscape and just kind of ruin everything. So those wolves, like wolves and any predator, will push animals and kind of keep the flow going. It's like literally the circle of life, like we got to keep everything going. And they also they kill mainly like sick and older elk, and like any, like they'll see like a sick thing and they'll get rid of it. So it kind of keeps the herd healthy and
Hmm.
well. But really just that, they're beneficial for everything. There's really cool videos about Yellowstone that show the aspens grew back and the rivers flowed better, like they just really help with everything.
Who who was your hero growing up?
Stevie Nicks.
Go into that.
I just thought she was a badass. I liked her witchy spirit and her, poetic tones, and I just liked the way she was, and I thought I kind of looked like her. I had like dirty blonde hair, and I
Yeah.
was like, and I loved to sing. I would go to bars and sing with my dad. He'd like make me go do karaoke, and I'd always sing Stevie Nicks and stuff. And yeah, I just really liked her. I thought she was really cool, and I still do love her. But my hero now is like Doug Smith and Rick McIntyre, and those are like old heads in Yellowstone that are just badasses.
Hmm.
But like, you know, who was your hero?
My grandpa,
Oh,
my grandpa Jim Braden. He grew up in Walla Walla, Washington. Uh, so ugly they named it twice.
that.
On the Palouse, his dad was a orphan that started a Walla Walla sweet onion farm, and so came up uh, growing onion. Yeah, yeah. Great grandpa. He would take the sweet onions out of the ground and bite them like an apple. He was just built different, I guess.
That's badass and like
Yeah.
wholesome as hell. I love that.
Hmm. But yeah, Grandpa Jim grew up with his two younger brothers, the three Walla Walla Cowboys, Jim, John, and Gerald, raising hell,
Oh no.
and kind of came up from nothing and built a life for himself, sent himself to college, and started his own business. And he's just the most forward thinking. Like for an 80-year-old man, like you don't expect him to properly gender your trans friends and that kind of. But he wants to do the right thing and learn and be respectful, and he's just a really amazing man that I hope I can be like. So that's my hero.
I think that's really cool how an older generation can be progressive and not stick to their own ways.
Hmm.
That's such a problem, I
Exactly.
notice as well.
Exactly. You talked about that witchy spirit that Stevie Nicks has.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me more about that. And is that something that's important in your life?
um, yeah, I think it's pretty important in my life. You get this vibe from certain people, and it's not like I shouldn't say vibe, it's like they're their own entity. I don't know what it is about it, but she just like there's like a couple people that have done it for me in my lifetime so far, and like Stevie Nicks is one of them, and I think a lot of people notice that with her. Um, but yeah, I think she's very light. Like there's just a light essence about her. I can't explain it. She's just a badass. Like she just like I remember I saw her in concert and she was like, "All right, guys, I brought my old chest out here. Tom Petty and I wrote this next song on his bed in his basement." Like she was just like really just the way she spoke when she was like performing and stuff was really fucking inspiring and really like lovely and light, and I just got like this dark and light energy from her, if that makes sense as well. Like she had it balanced out pretty well. And yeah.
I gotcha.
you
Would
know
you go into more on how you like feel other people's spirit? Again, like I'm very new to learning about spirituality and dimensions, which I want to ask you more about later. But again, growing up in Vancouver, Washington, and going to Christian school, sixth through ninth, worldview's a little limited there.
So there's light and dark that exists on different planes, and in order to have light you need to have darkness, and with darkness there's light, and balancing those out is key, and that's not something you can like control on a switch. It takes like a lot of self work and growth, and I'm still like so early on my timeline into figuring out the end point with all this, but I guess like where do I start? Like, there's so much that goes into it. Like there's so many different things. Like what would you I don't
I
know.
start at your personal level and how you got into it that way.
So the law of one, it's like we all come from one cell. Like biologically speaking, we are all one. Like I am you, you are me. Everything is interconnected. Everything in the world is interconnected. So that's the first step to understanding like your journey, is like realizing that. And politics aside, everything negative in life aside, you have to focus on that, and you have to focus on the fact that our planet is so small in the grand scheme of things, and the levels that we will go through and adapt through is like insane, and that's the stuff I'm still learning. um but I think it's important to first, you need to be happy with yourself. That is like the way you're gonna transform your life into like this more spiritual cool thing. um and I still get like really unhappy, and like we all have to work on ourselves and kind of better ourselves so we can help other people. I'm sure you've heard that saying, like you can't make anyone else happy until you're happy. And that's
Hmm.
so true. And you also have to like let go of your ego completely. I talked about that a little bit earlier. So many people have such inflated egos when you don't need to have a big ego to help anything. You just do it. Like you just are light. And you harvest your darkness in you. It's there, but you give your light that you have, so it's all about managing that and projecting it onto people and things and beings of any sort.
And how do you take that when, like you said, you can feel other people's spirit, you said, or aura? I don't remember the term you said, but
Yeah.
how do you take that with meeting other people?
So I think going into meeting people, I always have a very open mind, like extremely open. I never judge. And I'm always just like, I think I judge in the moment that I'm speaking with a person so I can understand them better. And usually I'm like judging correctly, and not like judging in a negative way, just being like, like this person has an ego. This person is in a progression state, you know, like this person, like when I met you, like I was just like, this person looks just like me. Like that's the first thing I thought about, was like, we're both blonde and like big smiles. And then I noticed that you're just like, yeah, you have this, I can tell you have a lot going on inside of you. And I think that's what is so cool, is to be able to tell that with people. And I think it's important to be in people's lives when you need to be, and that just happens naturally. Like it's nothing, it's never planned. The universe has it planned, but you don't. So I think being able to tell people's, I wouldn't say aura, because like I suck at that. Some people can really see the aura like coming off them. I can only see that when I'm on mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not right now.
Okay. Thank you.
But
Thank you
think,
for clarifying.
yeah, of course. But I think, yeah, just getting the first read is really important, and then choosing to spend more time with that person is definitely a universal urge. Like you just like, there's a reason for that, whether it's to fix the person, not fix, but like help them, be their catalyst, essentially, kind of open their mind to new ideas, or to just like be there, listen, like be their little personal diary, essentially. So I think doing that can definitely help a person really understand people, and I do that a lot with people. And I know a lot of people better than they think I do, because I just don't say anything. I just keep it to myself, and it's like my little secret power.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think you do a great job of that with, you know, a lot of people, myself included, give the best advice, but don't take it themselves. And what you're saying with being someone's diary, like I swear every time I talk to you is like a therapy session. Like I just feel like a weight lifted off of me. And that's why I was so excited to have you on as my first guest,
Oh.
is I think you helped me reach levels of myself that like I didn't think I could get to. So this was a big reason why I wanted to have you on first. So
That makes me so happy. Oh, Beau.
okay, now after I blew up your ego, I do want to
Yeah.
talk about I do
Laugh,
want to talk
but I thought.
your crazy ghost story you told me the other day.
Oh, the little like demon man. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I well, first, I've seen so many ghosts in my life, and like felt them, and they've like whispered like Lindsay in my ear and stuff, and I'm like, what the hell? And yeah, the other night I had a weird encounter, and I wasn't, I don't know what the hell. My dog started like borking, like little like bork bork. It wasn't like a loud thing, it was just like little like things.
He was
And
alarmed.
yeah, and his like, he was just like looking up at the door, and I was like, Moose, like shut up. I like pushed him a little bit and was like, shut up. And then I went back to bed, and then like he kept doing it, and I like look up, and there's like, imagine imagine the haircut of Coconut Head from Ned's Declassified. Imagine that haircut. This little goblin troll man with that haircut looking at me, like holding the door open, Moose looking right at it, and I'm like, I look at it, and then all of a sudden I just get like sleep paralysis, and then I start sweating, and I'm like, there's a fucking troll in my room. I was like, just like in complete frozen mode, and I just fell asleep. I was like,
Wait, you just fell asleep after that?
yeah, I couldn't. It was either like not move and like look at the ceiling and sweat, or like just go to sleep, because I mean, it's like,
Man, I wish I could just decide to go to sleep, and that kind of stress. College football won't even let me sleep like that. I can't imagine when a fucking demon troll's looking at me.
And like
I'd be waking up in panic attack mode because I'm afraid I'm not gonna wake up in time for my weightlifting.
well, like I feel like if you saw that thing looking at you, you'd be like, all right, I'm just gonna go to bed. Like that didn't
What do you
happen.
mean?
Like I had if you have sleep paralysis, you can't move.
I guess,
You're
yeah.
like stuck like a stiff as a board. Like I just couldn't move, and I was like, I either seriously just like think about this thing. I actually it wasn't like an immediate like, all right, I'm just gonna go to bed. I think I like sat there for probably like 10 minutes, just like
Mhm.
holding Moose, and I'm like, good boy, thanks, thanks for waking me up for that. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna fall asleep. It was so late too, and it's like that late, you know. If it were
I
like
mean,
7 p.m., I would be like probably up for the night, but like not going through my doorway.
mhm.
You might see him like come in behind me, honestly.
I
This is
don't
never
want to think
happened.
about that. when you first told me this story, you said you had a feeling of calm with it, and that's like I'm still so shocked by that you could go back to sleep after that. But would you tell me about that feeling of calmness and what you were experiencing in that?
Yeah. So I think I mentioned to you that it was probably a hallucination, but at the same time, my dog saw it. So I don't know. It could have been, I don't know, it could have been anything, but I felt at ease with it because I've encountered ghosts before and it was pretty, pretty just like, oh, hey, but at the same time, like, haven't seen you before, you know, kind of thing. And I had mentioned that I feel us as humans, our brain is so powerful that we can project our inner darkness into literal physical things that we hallucinate and that we see. And that happened to me with that. Like maybe I have a little angry troll in my personality and I like projected him onto my into my door, you know, and he like was like reminding me like, don't be a bitch tomorrow, Lindsay, you know, like you never know. Cause like I think if anybody hallucinates something like that could possibly be them dealing with something or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a thing that we don't want to like admit to ourselves. But I still don't know what it was. Like I don't know what the message was that it was trying to give me because it was just like looking at me. Just with this ugly face. I wish I could draw. And that could be like the
You need
face
to
of the
go into like a the eyewitness accounts, the people that sketch the
yeah, that
face. Yeah.
so he was like 3'3". Like they would like not be able to draw him.
Mm-hmm.
And his eyes, I totally forgot to mention his eyes were like just white little lights. Like it was like
Oh,
headlights.
fuck.
Like not bright. Like it was just like headlights looking at me, but they were obviously not shining on me, but that's what his eyes look like. Maybe it was a girl. I don't know. Maybe it was a really ugly chick. I have
Yeah,
no
we
idea.
don't want to assume the troll's gender. They
Non-binary.
were ugly.
Yeah, they were ugly, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
But it was probably something inside of me that I don't like. And then that was what I got from it. So, yeah.
And could you feel in that moment that like that's where the calm came from, knowing that that was from you and not some kind of outside thing? Like that's what I'm so taken aback by.
Yeah. Um, I don't think I registered that in the moment, but I think subconsciously I did. So that's why it was okay. Because I felt like in control of the situation. Because, like, obviously there's no troll in my house, you know?
I
Like,
don't know, but if my dog was barking at it, I think I would just melt. Like I'd probably like I don't know if I'd be able to function after that if my little dog saw it, but
yeah, I mean, it was, I think maybe I mean, dogs are very smart. They're very, very smart and intuitive. And maybe he was like,
well, and keen to supernatural things,
yeah,
right?
But maybe he just saw the bad side of me and he didn't like it and he was just like, go away, mom. Bad side of mom. Like, maybe, who knows? Like, I mean, but it's definitely something that made me feel, yeah, very calm afterwards. And like, I fell asleep, so that's probably, yeah, I think it was just had to do with the subconscious and how I reacted to it, because I knew in way back in my brain that it was okay. But I don't really know how the brain works, but
Yeah.
wherever like the surface level stuff is, that was where I was kind of like scared in the moment, but at the same time.
When did you become aware to, because like you said, you've seen ghosts all these times, like when did you become aware to it being like your own projections?
Well, I think that was probably the first time that I've seen something and it could have been my own projection, because the other times were like very, like, I heard footsteps, people talking to me, like, um, things would move, glasses would break, like just things like that would happen. So that was real. Like, that's like, I don't know what the hell that is. I think this is kind of off topic to your question, but I think and there's a term for this, but I'm not sure what it is, but when something so crazy happens, like when a lot of energy is released into one space, like say like a brutal, like all these haunting movies, like a brutal murder happens and it's haunted because so much energy is exerted in that moment that it sticks
Mm-hmm.
around. So like if someone were to, die peacefully, I don't think that area would be haunted. If there
Mm-hmm.
was a lot of happiness and like so much energy was in that moment, like you were so happy and like you got engaged or you got married here, and then like there's so much to look into, but like the exertment of energy in a space, I believe, can cause something to be haunted, whether it's negative or happy. But the happy part I need to look into, because like,
Do you think that's how like holy spaces are created? Like I'm not r- religious, really. Like I don't know. I'm going through that right now, figuring out what I believe. But like, do you think these holy spaces are created off that? What you're saying with all the like the exertion of energy, whether it be positive in worship, that space is created off of people's projection, exertion of that energy.
yeah, I think that with religion, I think that a building is built to provide a service to people. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the feeling that every single individual in that building has gives off so much energy in one space. They feel safe, they feel happy, they feel
Mm-hmm.
anger, like it's so much happening in one space. So I think the concept of having a safe space to go to and just like nestle down in. How long is church usually? Like a couple hours? I don't really.
Well, I mean, it depends on your race.
That's very
That I mean, that's what I always hear, because my like we'll go into my white people church and we can get a 45-minute service in, but then I hear from my black friends that their Sunday's a full day.
it's a
So
full day. It's a commitment. But yeah,
hmm
like, I mean, the singing, the crying, the cheering, the applauding. I accidentally clapped. I went to church like once and I clapped by accident in a service. I thought you were supposed to like clap in response to like what he was saying,
hmm
but you're not. in some cases. But yeah, all that like energy being like given off, like in a football stadium. That's a
hmm
that's a vibe in a football stadium. Like you go in there, it's a
hmm
feeling, because like, and it's a familiar feeling because of all of that same energy that's being exerted. So it's really neat. I go into like, trying to think, like Fuddruckers. That's a vibe. Like, because it's just like so familiar and like everyone's like Fuddruckers. I mean, I haven't been to one in a while, but
I'm getting that tattooed on my lower back. Fuddruckers is a vibe.
did you say on your lower ass?
On my lower back, my
Oh,
upper
well, yeah,
ass, I guess.
that's more appropriate.
My
Well,
tramp
tramp
stamp
stamp.
has Fuddruckers in it, which is very on brand. After After living my couple months in Montana, I guess it just makes sense that I would get a Fuddruckers tramp stamp.
Yeah. Have you ever had a Fuddruckers burger?
Yeah, with their fake nacho cheese on top. I mean, I was like 8 years old the last time I went to Fuddruckers. I was a fan. Like I thought it was so sick that you could just like go up and pump your own cheese on a burger, not thinking about how disgusting of a concept that is. And I'm just pumping cheese onto fried
Yeah, what?
meat.
I don't I haven't been to a Fuddruckers in like 3 years probably, but that is gnarly. I used to pump the mayo onto my burger.
Oh God, go to hell.
I love mayo.
Something that I ask people that I got from you, um, which I think you always ask the dopest question is, what's the coolest thing you've learned in the past 2 weeks?
Huh. Oh, yeah. I learned that there's a Bengal tiger in India that has recorded to kill up to 450 people in its lifetime. Like a singular tiger did that, and that is insane to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that Siberian tigers are in eastern Russia. I didn't know that. I thought that's really
Oh
cool.
shit.
And I told Beau this. I want to start, like learning Russian because I would love to go work with them one day.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to actually like be able to speak the native tongue. I
Mm-hmm.
think I learned. Let me try and remember this. Это мой друг Beau. I don't know if that's right. I tried saying this is my friend Beau.
Oh well, thank you.
What about you? What's the coolest thing you've learned in the past 2 weeks?
Well, it was more of like a realization. So have you heard of Neuralink?
Mm-mm.
So this new technology coming out that Elon Musk is uh, building right now, and it's called Neuralink, where it's some chip like implanted on your brain, like Black Mirror, that kind of stuff. And I haven't looked a ton into like all the ins and outs of it, but like helping with like memory, and again, I haven't looked a ton into it, but like Black Mirror is a TV show that like has kind of concepts like that. And then I just watched this new show on Amazon Prime called Upload,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like off that concept of like the like downloading your consciousness and then putting it in this digital afterlife. And so you have these chips in your brain that's collecting your data. And man, like people worry about old tweets resurfacing. Like I don't want what I was thinking about when I was 12 to get out there on Twitter, but um like collecting your data and all that, and then like putting your consciousness, you essentially, but not your physical self, in this digital afterlife. And super sick concept, like really like takes away a lot of like people's fear of death, um and like knowing like you'd still be able to live on and kind of breaking into that eternity. And maybe like that would be the next step in our evolution, is like getting away from our physical bodies and getting more into VR, and developing as a society online, which is scary. But I was watching that show and I was thinking to myself, while it's collecting all this data on you, like, and this is a hypothetical about a hypothetical thing,
Mm-hmm.
but what if all that data it's collecting and like downloading your consciousness is really just creating an AI off of your own mind? So it thinks like you and talks like you and has your memories, and it's creating a new being instead of downloading that consciousness, because I don't know how you can download someone's spirit. So I'm thinking to myself, watching this show, what if, you die in that USB of Lindsay gets put into a computer, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's me. I can feel, I can see, this is me. This is great. But really, like, you did die, and your spirit is out in whatever you believe. Like, that's, and you're in heaven or wherever you went. But you're in this a copy of yourself, not the real you, is in this digital universe communicating with people still alive, saying, oh my gosh, this is amazing, I love it, it's the real me, I can feel you, hear my voice, like, this is really me, convincing all your family to go and pay for this service in this afterlife, this false belief that isn't even
Oh my God.
real, just some kind of money scheme. So I don't know, that's what, like, some kind of realization about, like, a hypothetical reality that I don't even know is, like, in the works of being built right now, but off some TV show. So that's kind of like my profound thought of the last 2 weeks, I guess.
That is terrifying. Like, that
Yeah,
concept is my biggest fear on this planet. That
really.
being microchipped, or I am like the biggest like conspiracy person, and I have been fact checking
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stuff, and I've been like wronged, definitely, so I can admit when I'm wrong
Mm-hmm.
about it. But like something about microchipping, it sounds really fucking cool. It's like,
Oh
oh,
my gosh, yeah.
like it can do all this for me. I can remember things like,
Mm-hmm.
but
I can
that,
have huge arms and shredded abs without having to do anything.
yeah, but
And I
that's
can fuck an alien and all this shit and not get some kind of space aids. Like, hell yeah, like, I'm here for that. Like,
insane. I mean, it's so insane. Is that what would happen? You could like fuck aliens with this thing?
I mean, I think once you're in it, like, what are the, the possibilities are endless, really, because what can you create on a computer? You just make it so a human can experience it with their eyes instead of on a TV.
I think it's really interesting how people see new technology and they like get like horny for it. They're like, wow, I need that. I need to know all of this about myself today. Like, I walked 10 miles today. And like, I mean, that's cool if you're tracking for like, things that you need to track for, but like the Apple Watch, I'm scared to get one. I always think it's gonna like burn me or like explode on my. Do you have one?
Yeah, I got mine on.
They're
And
listening.
it was in the frame. Yeah.
Didn't see it. I'm scared of those. I'm scared it's gonna like burn my skin off. I don't know
I
why.
I've worn it swimming. I've worn it in the sauna. It hasn't, nothing physical has happened to me. I do get the like the phantom text thing where you feel like your legs vibrating, your phone's in your pocket, but really it's not. Have you gotten that? Have you experienced that?
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know the official, but I'm assuming, yeah, the phantom text or whatever. That's like a real thing that, like, I don't know the exact stat, but a lot of people experience, like, I've gotten that with my wrist now. So now, like,
Ew.
instead of pulling it out of my pocket, I flip my wrist up and I think I get an update, but it was just, phantom text moving to my arm now.
That's insane. Yeah, that happens to me a lot. Like, I'll like think
Hmm.
my phone vibrated, or like I swear today I actually thought it like got bright, and then I looked and there was nothing. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, and then I'm just bummed out to have no notifications again. So it's really just a bummer.
Have you
Hmm.
made it anything cool lately? Did you make your Halloween costume?
I did.
What?
I did. Yeah, I made my Thor costume, and, like, that was my first time, like, really making something, like, from start to finish, not just like stitching something on something or like putting two t-shirts together. And I made the mistake of being like, yeah, I can work with leather. Oh my God. It's so hard. I mean, like, so I had a first attempt that failed miserably. I got this leather, and I bought like 4.5 yards from Joanne Fabrics, and always look for the coupons. Some sweet grandma helped me and gave me a couple coupons of hers, which,
Whatever.
the best. Love that lady. But I got this sick, just like some regular black pleather, fake leather. And then this like gator skin looking one, because that's actually like a little sexy. We got to get slutty on Halloween.
Definitely.
And so I took that like gator print, and I literally just like took one of my I have this Harley Davidson like muscle shirt, and I was like, this one fits well, and so I like laid that down on the leather and then like chalked the outline and cut that out in 2 pieces, and then I just sewed it together, and I was like, let's see how this fits. And I looked like a Minecraft dominatrix.
Oh my God.
Like it was just like a rectangle, and I was like, well, this isn't gonna work. And I had it on for like maybe 45 seconds and was already musty. Like it was just so hot, and I was like, there's no way like I'm gonna be able to wear this around like more than myself.
Photos
So
of that? Like,
yeah, no, there was no way that was making it to the gram. So we threw that to the side, and I sat down for about 7 hours and cut out. I took a Nike Dry Fit NYU basketball shirt that I thrifted from the Missoula Goodwill,
amazing.
and then just like threw on like rectangles of leather to my chest and like kept adding to it and did these shoulder pieces, and it turned out pretty cool. And like it was nice because I only covered my shoulders and like the front, so like the back was still dry fit, so I could breathe in that, because I run hot like
That, yeah, I feel that.
yeah.
Damn, well, you could like
I'll
save
show
that
you.
for your first official piece and put it in glass.
And here I'll show you.
That's
You
insane.
can kind of see. And then I stitched a cape on too. And so here I am with my my hammer and the cape.
That's insane. Where'd you get the hammer?
Amazon. It was
Nice.
$20. I had a gift card, so, and that was last Halloween too.
Amazing.
I had to recycle the costume, but made the new piece. So that was kind of exciting. I was hyped about that once I finally got it done. But I think I gave myself scoliosis being hunched over at my desk trying to sew all that leather on.
How long did that take?
It was 7 hours.
Ew. That's so
Yeah, I
long.
know. I know. I was like, I don't know if this is what I want to do. And so I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just start this new podcast. Well, Lindsay, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you so much for coming on. For obvious reasons, this is why I wanted you to be my first guest. So with that, thank you. If people want to reach out to you, where can they do that?
On my Instagram, yeah. It's public, and all minds welcome, all bodies welcome. I love everybody. And thank you so much for having me. I hope we can continue to talk about more crazy things in the future.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right.
Take care, Beau.
Peace.